For more information on my programs, please visit masajady.com. That's MASSAJADY.com.
Let's go ahead and get into some questions. You said that the man in question was only 60% willing to change. For bringing our loved ones into the Medihealings, how do we determine if it's a worthwhile effort or if they're too stubborn to change? Thanks. Good question. Well, you really don't know. Again, but it's always okay to bring it in as long as it doesn't burden you. Okay, the important thing is not about them, not about their change. And the best way to change people is actually to show them the effects. Right? Show them the results. So if you want to bring somebody in, if you feel right about bringing somebody in, then bring them in. But as a reminder, never bringing them in and imagine them meditating next to you, unless they're, say, your loved one. But even that, I would imagine them at least out of your personal space or in another room. If they're living with you, or if they're not living with you, where they are. And then that's all you have to do. Okay? And you'll see the results. And then it's up to them to continue. But at a certain point, right, you see the results. You either make them aware of it, that, hey, I've been bringing you in, and that's how your life has changed. You should start doing the 21 days on your own, because then they have to take ownership. Otherwise, it'll just become a codependent relationship again for some of you. So that's what you don't want. Why is it so difficult to stay in my body all the time? I find that if I'm not paying very specific attention to what I'm doing or how I move, that I feel disconnected. It's a constant struggle, like a drunk driver who is hyper-focused because they're trying to stay within the lines on the road. The more connected I am, like after Medihealing, the faster the disconnect happens. Easy in, easy out. But second is, how can I stay in my body? Sure. Good question. So again, just tapping into a general answer. If you've always been out of your body, possessed, controlled, destroyed, whatever it is, right? You've been pulled out of your body. Medihealings pull you back in. Okay? But what happens is that, again, some of us need extra strength, and then in a very short time, you get pulled back to your original state, so to speak. The good thing is that it's easier and easier to stay in, say, in line. And then, so since you've always been out of your body, it takes a conscious effort to realize that you're off, and then, again, center yourself. So, but as you keep practicing, that becomes second nature to you, and then there'd be a point in time where you just naturally are in your body all the time. But again, it depends on the level of abuse and the intensity of abuse that you've had in the past. So, okay. Why does body shape matter if it all comes down to our spirits? Really fantastic question. And it goes back to the default age, or and then like healthy body. So if you are, say, at an awakened level, the body shape, and again, not according to society standards or the latest trends or anything like that, but what best fits your needs. And I think that's where we're getting kind of stuck on. So if you were of, say, of pure frequency or a cleaner frequency. Or as people, I'll say this first and then go back. So as individuals, say, clean up and come into a higher frequency, a pure frequency of themselves, they come into that strength, pure strength within themselves. What happens is that they start to regress in age. They start to redefine how they age. They start to look younger, feel more vibrant, and so on. And it's happened not just to me, but countless individuals who become awakened. So that's why it's important. So this allows you to say, so when I'm bringing in, say, body shape, health, vibrancy, and so on like that, it's almost like helping your spirit. So I'm working on your spirit side to bring in, say, your default age. Okay? And I'll explain what your default age is. And if you're doing your part, like, so you're both on, say, the same track, you're both wanting, needing the same thing, that connection to your spirit works a lot better, right? Because you're, again, in sync. And then also it shows that if you start to care about the way you look or your body shape, again, outside of society's needs or standards, it means that it shows that your spirit, that you're, say, willing to improve upon yourself, or that it's like you're taking time to come in and it's about, it shows that you're like inviting your spirit in as a red carpet. That makes sense to you. Right? So you're awakened enough. You notice that people who are, say, awakened enough, they take care of the way they look, how they eat, right? Their hygiene, all that stuff. For those individuals whose spirits are ragged or torn down, how do they look? Ragged, torn down. That's at a spiritual frequency, hence that's why they look that way. So we're just helping our spirits, like, yes, I'm awake, yes, I'm open. And so your default age is, the best way to explain that is that for those individuals who can see or connect or sense the dead, or people, the dead. So for example, you have somebody that is riddled with cancer, or they die of old age, and so on like that. And those individuals who are awakened as they cross over, and then those loved ones, they can see or sense them, and they'll always go back and say, wow, I saw grandmother. But they don't see grandmother on the deathbed, riddled, or they don't see them, riddled with cancer and so on like that. They always see them at a glowing, right, healthy, vibrant, usually a younger age, not too young, but again, like their prime. And they're always in, not like again, like a GQ magazine or, I don't know, a Vogue ad, anything like that, unless that's what their prime looked like. There's nothing wrong with that. And, however, you see them glowing, you see them vibrant, you see them healthy. It's just a significant, it's a reflection of being healthy. And that's why, if you look at animals, they're pretty much of similar shape outside of pets, because people, they push so much garbage into their pets, not just food-wise, but all their that, so they get distorted compared to, say, the same type of animals living in the wild. Why? Because when you're connected to nature without time distortion, and that's why a lot of animals, again, look very, very similar, because they're at their prime pretty much all the time. And when you become at your prime, there's not a lot of differentiation. You might get a little bigger, a little wider, and so on like that. But again, there's no excess. And there's no, say, lack. Either way, again, at their prime. So it's just a signal for you to be at your prime. So that's the importance of it. And there's more. And as they come into an awakening space, or higher frequencies, or of your pure strength, what happens is that you notice that you start eating better automatically. You stay away from the foods and things and people and all that aren't beneficial for you. You start taking care of yourself. Why is that? Because your spirit's awakened and bright. So and as you become healthier, you can maintain the higher frequencies, because you would have to be at a healthier level to maintain higher frequencies. Otherwise, you would destroy yourself. So it's about you being strong enough to, again, maintain a high voltage, so to speak. Right? So that's why. So one is, I'm not coping well. I'm confused, lost, broken down. I would appreciate some support before I get any worse. Thanks as always for listening and caring. Daniela. So just tapping into this person, as a note, if you run the similar patterns, obviously you're going to get similar results. Is that, say, the darker you are, the more abusive your history has been, the more cursed your family has been, or possessed, and again, those are your, say, definitions of your family, not mine. The more controlled. And I've said this quite often. The essence of you has been so stained, and it's not your fault. Okay? But over centuries or over generations, what's happened is that over time, by the time you come around, your identity or your essence or your consciousness is so stained with that destructive frequency that as you start to clean up, it's hard. The good news is that those individuals are probably, from what I've seen, much darker than you. They've made it. They were successful. Is it hard? Yes, it is very hard. But what they've done is that the thoughts, the desperation, the mind games, all those tricks that your pain body, because your pain body has been used by whatever controls you. It's not you anymore. And your pain body obviously knows all your weaknesses. So those individuals, they acknowledge that, well, there's mind games that get played. So they always are paying attention to their physical reality here. And sometimes you go, well, I look around my physical reality and it's not so great. You're right, and that's how they fool you or trick you as well. Because if you've been listening, Exponential Intelligence states that your physical reality is a reflection of who you are. That's how they get you. Who you are is so stained. Your physical reality is a reflection of how distorted and stained you are, right? So when I say be in your physical state, don't look at your physical reality as a judgment call. That's not the point, because it just confirms the patterns that you're running. So it creates a loop. Maybe that's where people get confused. You have to look at your physical reality as being in time. Now you can look at your physical reality and say it sucks, it's whatever it is. Yes, that's true. However, if you look at your physical reality like, this is the carpet that I live on, this is the wall, this is, again, and have no definition of what that means to you. If you live in a crappy apartment, let's say, right? You can say you're living in a crappy apartment, but then just start to break it down. Start to notice the details of your crappy apartment. You'll soon find that you start to become in the moment, especially with the work that you're doing with me. It brings you more and more present state. Even if you see paint chips or carpet stains, whatever, you start to acknowledge, again, the details of your crappy apartment, right? Or your ill health, or whatever. Again, but do not judge or try not to judge. And if you are judging, be aware that you're judging. Okay? If you don't like your body, because I always say stay in your body. A lot of people don't like their body for some reason or another. That's fine. I'm not saying lie to yourself. That's the worst thing you can do, because you become a traitor to your own self. But what happens is that you start to notice the details of your body as a third person, without any, say, emotions, if you can, or just acknowledge it for what it is. It is what it is. It is where you are, and that's it. All the mind games that go through your head, just go, oh, that's my pain body, and come back to whatever you're doing. And that's why I always say, notice the actions of your body. Because once you start noticing the actions, it allows you, and it's not about the actions. It's not about your crappy apartment or anything else. But it's about staying in the present moment. That's the key. It's all about being in the present moment. Right? If you need to play with something like a widget or whatever in your hands, and pay attention to the feelings, do anything that's new. Get out and walk out in nature, whatever. Again, the key is to be present by focusing in the present. And that'll help you go through. And again, this person, and another thing too, with people with, just let's say, a dark past, dark lineage, okay, is that you clean up. What happens is that the frequency that you're breaking away from, kind of like a house of cards, or if you've ever played Jenga, right? You pull that a piece of wood and everything falls apart. For a good number of you, those frequencies rest upon you to continue on. Now you're walking away from it. Again, there's no support. And there's that, say how that house of cards starts to fall down and crumble. Literally, it starts to shatter. So what happens is now all that darkness starts to come out within you and then your family as well, so everything gets magnified. Right? And I stress, it's got nothing to do with me, it's got nothing to do with exponential intelligence, it's got nothing to do with outside yourself. I'm not saying to blame yourself, but you're that rendition of what's transpired in your family. Okay? For those individuals, it takes a little longer. So I commend you for taking that big step, because it's not only about you, and hopefully this promotes you to stay in the space, because you can never go backwards, or you can never stop, because you've gone too far, you know too much. Whatever consciousness that has controlled you in the past, again, nothing new, will consume you even more. That's just the way physics, spiritual physics works, okay? Or any other physics, actually. So if you need more motivation, just think of it. It's not just about you anymore. It's about bringing in, say, a new light for your family lineage, or ending the distortion, the destruction for your family. Even if they die off here physically, right? It doesn't mean that you die, that consciousness dies off. It resurrects itself, say, in another, the afterlife. The next lifetime you're here. So what you're doing is breaking that consciousness so it never appears again. And for some of you, again, it's tough work, but it's well worth it. Not just for you, your future generation, younger kids, nieces, nephews, whatever that's in your family lineage, but then also look at how much impact that has on the world, right? You have younger generations, and even if you don't, future, say, people that come from your lineage, they're free of that as well. But future generations come through, they're not running the patterns of your family. Look how impactful that becomes. So again, if it drives you, it's not just about you anymore. Okay? You're doing a huge part to clean up the earth properly. It's not about just using paper straws. It's cleaning up, again, thinking green, spiritually green, right? So again, I commend you guys for that.
Here's a question. I became aware today of the pattern that prevents me from participating in life. I've been blaming it on lack of money, feeling down, etc. Attributing blame isn't accurate or true. How can we find the underlying cause and frequency from any pattern that we are wanting to delete or change? Can you please go into as much detail to help us discern and remove undesirable underlying frequencies? Thank you, Mary. Sure. It's an interesting question. And the important thing is, and the way Einstein says it, is that, and that's the way EI works, that's why I say it, is that, you really have to, instead of focusing in on the problem, because if you focus in on the problem at the same level of the problem, you won't see it clearly. So what EI does is that it helps you resonate at a higher frequency, or go to the next level, and then you can look down and get a better perspective on what's happening. So that's the best way. This really is one of the only ways unless say somebody points it out who's at a higher level. So the fact that you're asking the question the way you are is a signal that tells me that you're rising into a next level, which is really good. So that is about 50-60% of the solution right there for you. So congratulations. In a short time, in this process, say you raise yourself to this next level, it's not just that you see what's going on, but then it also allows you to manifest whatever it is that you need to help you, say, resolve the problem or get, a step closer to resolving the issue. But if you try to resolve a problem at the level of the problem, you'll see that you never really resolve it, and that pattern just keeps continuing on. So that's the huge difference. So you're doing a great job. For you tapping into most, getting frustrated with your situation, getting antsy, trying to find a solution, those are all signs to harness that power, harness that frustration, and make it directional rather than, kind of like an explosive where you just explode. It doesn't work that way either. Successful individuals use that energy that's created by anger, frustration, anxiety, and so on to propel them or expand them, or propel them towards, say, the situation that they want to go towards. Okay? Not so many individuals either implode or explode. So, and that takes a little, say, practice for you to hone in, but the more practice, the better you get at it. Okay? All right, guys, notice what you notice. So start noticing the details, what you're noticing.
For more information on my programs, please visit masajady.com. That's MASSAJADY.com.